Hello and welcome. My name's Leanne. I live in Australia and this is my crafty cupboard. Well, our next prompt for down the garden path is some flower pots. I'm sort of looking at my sewing journal and I love the look of these little ones here with the buttons. And on this piece I did little crocheted flowers as well. With just some beads here and there. So I thought I might do that on my garden pot. Now the scale of my piece, the garden pots would need to be very, very tiny. And I don't feel like doing tiny little flowers anymore. When you do tiny, like here, you're pretty much limited to sort of, just chain stitch or straight stitch or French knots, and it looks very sweet. I just don't feel like doing that today. So once again, I'm throwing all notions of scale out the window, and I'm going to go with a massive flower pot. So that's my flower pot, and it's going to take up the whole thing. So it's going to be as big as my greenhouse. Still having to work quite tiny because the space is small, so I've just got yo-yos, as I'd mentioned before in a previous video. I said, wouldn't it be cute if I get to use these? So I'm going to put those in, and any flower buttons I have. This one's just subtly a flower, but it's there. And the little crocheted flowers, a few felt leaves. So the leaves on this one I actually didn't have green felt at the time, so it's just white felt that I painted. I have green felt this time, so I'll use this, but I still might paint on the edges of it or something to give it a bit of depth. See how we go. Maybe throw in a few embroidered flowers here and there, or some beads. So I'll start by making a flower. Very awkward when I crochet because it's very tiny. We'll see how we go. So this is a very old hook. It's 0.75 it says. And then over here it's got a 5 written on it. It's very tiny. And this thread is, looks like it's mercerized. It's actually quite thick for this size needle, but I like the size that it gave me. Sorry, the size hook. And it's quite firm, so I quite like that. I'm not sure what size this is because it has no label, it's second hand, but one that I own, which is a DMC number 12, is actually smaller than it, so I'm guessing this is an 8. So I'll just show you side by side the finished. So that's the size 12 thread. That's the size 8 thread doing exactly the same thing. Okay, so I start off with a magic ring, magic loop. Okay, and then I do 5 because I want 5 petals. These are single crochet in the US and double crochet UK, Australia terms. Always very awkward until I get it on, the first few. Again. So through, hook one through, thread over, pull it through both. Alright. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's one more. I'm even more awkward when I'm trying to work slowly. And then a slip stitch here. Let's just put the hook through and pull a thread through just to anchor it into spot. Okay, now I chain 2, 1, 2, and then yarn over once and then into the first chain, pull it through, pull it through 2, pull it through 2. I'm not even going to pretend that I know what that's called in the different countries. On the diagram it's got one line over it because you yarn over once before you go through. And then to finish, chain 2 and down for a slip stitch to anchor it in place. Or drop everything off your hook and do it again. Alright, one petal. So slip stitch it into the next chain. One, 2, yarn over, go through, bring the yarn through, yarn over to go through 2 stitches, and again yarn over to go through 2 stitches, yarn over, take it through, pull the thread through, yarn over 2, chain 2. Oh dear, there's a knot. What on earth is that? No. Everyone remember I'm up to slip stitching. Oh, that's good. Came out easy. Goodness, I'm finding this fiddly. Let's try again. I was going to say third time lucky, but no, still lost it. Going cross-eyed, looking at it. There we go. Alright, slip stitch into the next chain. Easier said than done. There it is. And away we go again. Chain 2. I'm thinking that in the UK this is a double crochet, what I'm doing, in the middle of the petals, and in the US it's a treble. So yarn over once, take it through, bring it back through, pull off 2 stitches, and again pull off 2 stitches. So now I'm just doing a running stitch to hold my pot in place. This piece was just a, what do we call it? It was an offcut from a toiletry bag that I made, and this is the zipper tab, you know, the part that you hang on to pull the zipper open. And so this was a piece left over, and just a blue scrap of ribbon over the top. My favourite part of doing this, apart from all the enjoyment and relaxation I get from stitching in the first place, but the part of sharing it through YouTube has been the community that it gathers, and I'm just amazed and so pleased to see there's over 500 people now that have subscribed to join in the stitching with me, and I really appreciate the community that's been built around this Down the Garden Path project. I so much look forward to each weekend when I've got time to sit and watch all the amazing stitching that's going on, the other projects. Corinne. To Be Loved Treasures by Corinne. I'm really in love with her wave of colour. She's actually doing 4 Down the Garden Path projects, but the one I particularly love is the wave of colour. So pretty. And speaking of pretty, you really need, if you haven't seen it, to have a look at Elizabeth Robinson's piece. Oh my goodness, that's so gorgeous. I love that. You know, I look at all these pieces and think, wow, I wish I'd stitched that. And another one that really amazes me with her work in this project is Christine from Create and Craft with Christine. You know, she's doing a really different take on it to everyone else, and it's really fascinating to watch her processes and her pieces, which are a little larger, come together. And I love hearing all the tales about her trips and her puppy. It's really enjoyable. So I thoroughly recommend checking out the hashtag Roxy's Journal of Stitchery. But also, if you go to my channel and click on the channels tab, you can see all these amazing stitches that I've subscribed to and check out all their work. There's another one who's not participating in this Roxy's Journal of Stitchery, but I love her work. Her name's Gwendolyn's Dabble Doozies, and she does just beautiful stitching. It's really lovely to see the pieces that she creates and puts together. Well, I might pause the video here and come back a bit later, because you've seen me do enough running stitch for a bit, and when I've got something more interesting to show you, I'll pop back on. Well, I'm back, and I've pinned in place now my little yo-yos or Suffolk puffs as flowers, and the little crochet flowers. I don't use pins often. I find them very awkward, and I constantly stab myself with them. But of course, I sort of wanted to get a sense of how to lay them out. I'm going for that sort of opulent look of many flowers in my flower pot. But really, it's just an excuse to use the little cute Suffolk puff flowers that I made, and as I mentioned from my art journal page, I liked the look of the little crochet flowers and the buttons, so why not? So for this project, for me, my one isn't very cohesive. It's more like you can really tell the sort of divide between each of the prompts. My piece is absolutely more about, for me, the enjoyment of the stitching in the moment. What do my hands feel like doing? I just really love this process. It's a lot of fun. So I'm just using bright orange, normal sewing thread, like sewing machine thread, to stitch the flowers down with these tiny little buttons. I'm starting to lose my pins already. I can foresee that all these flowers I've pinned in place are gonna, whoop, hooked that. There, bye-bye pin. I think I'm not going to have many pinned flowers left soon. I just find it too awkward. I'm just stitching it down about 3 or 4 times, just to sort of, till it feels solid. I'm going to keep working on this piece probably throughout today, but won't be able to film it all because I'll be with my family all around. But I will come back on and show you the finished product. Welcome back. So here is my finished flower pot filled with flowers. Fly stitch on the felt leaves, yo-yos, a chain stitch and stem stitch for the stems, buttons. Love this little button. I've put down some beads, just use stem stitch to hold those down. I've got little individual lazy daisy stitch on the stems to make little leaves. I've kept that edge raw because the next piece can overlap that. And I had to do some gather stitches up the top here to make it the right size because the bottom had pulled in quite tight with all the stitching that was on it. The little crochet flowers have got a bit of Inktense paint to them, Inktense pencil to give them a different colour. Little pearl bead in the centre. I had a lot of fun with this piece. It's exactly what my hands felt like doing on the day. Now this is my whole scroll so far. So I'm trying to film this one-handed. Here's the little gate prompt. And then the veggie garden prompt. And the greenhouse prompt. Look, I opened the greenhouse windows. It was bugging me. I wanted to see the beautiful flowers. So I've actually cut open the greenhouse windows and let the flowers peek out. And then now the flower pot. This prompt inspired me to head off to the flower market and treat myself to a few beautiful blooms. These are Lysianthus. I love them. I had purple and white Lysianthus in my wedding bouquet that I made myself. There's some more Lizzies, and the little purple one in here is the Buddleia, which smells delightful. It smells like honey. It attracts all the bees and butterflies outside. So I treated myself to 2 snips of that to make the house smell lovely. And look at these gorgeous dahlia. I've always been curious, why do we spell it dahlia, but in Australia we say dahlia? I don't know. A little caterpillar was having a good munch on one of those flowers, so it's nice to see that they're organic, I guess. But here's a little close-up of it. Just absolutely gorgeous. Love being surrounded by flowers. Thanks for watching. See you next time.